Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I've already done recently my video of the pens I purchased in 2019, and I'll do a brief recap here. So you can see here was the first 10 pens in 2019 I purchased. There were 30 pens all in all, and here was the second 10 pens that I purchased, and here was the third 10 pens. So as you can see, that's 30 pens all in all. So this is my top 10 pens based on the pens that I purchased in 2019. So here you go. These are the top 10 pens out of those top 30. So I've discarded 20 of the pens, and here are the final 10 that I really do like a lot, and I really am glad that I added to my collection. Now, ideally, I probably would have liked to have done 15 or 20 pens, but it's a difficult decision on what makes that top 10 cut or top 15 cut. So I thought top 10 was probably a more restricted view of what I thought was the top pens that I purchased in 2019. So this is really in no particular order, but this was really one of my favourite pens I purchased. This was a pen that was a long time coming. It took me 2 years to try and source one, and strangely enough, I just hadn't been talking to the right people. Marco at Novelli had set himself a goal towards the end of 2018. It was his 2019 New Year's resolution to sell me a pen, and I joked around a little bit because I said, look, there's no pens that I want from your store, but thanks anyway. He said that I'm going to sell you a pen at whatever cost, and I took that to be, well, okay, let's set him a challenge, let's set him a high bar. I set him a high bar in finding this pen, and he was able to find it for me. He talked to Visconti and came up trumps. So I'm very glad that Marco set himself that challenge, and I rose really to that challenge, and I'm glad that I picked up this pen. It is a beautiful pen. It's the Last Templar. It's the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay. It's a beautiful silver pen. It's a power vac filler. It's got a 23 cap palladium nib on, but it really is a beautiful pen. And if I unscrew what would be the filling knob, you'll see here that is the filling knob. So this also comes with a ring and a dagger as well. So this came as a set, and that was one of my prized 10 pens. If I wanted to reduce this to 3 pens, I'd say that was in the top 3, because it really is a lovely pen. And I wanted more Arcos. I picked up this from Sarge, the one-man pen show. This is the Armando Simoni Club Il Gladiatore, and again, this is just a beautiful pen. You've seen this obviously on the top 30 pens. You've seen all of these pens on the top 30 pens, but for me, this really is a beautiful pen. It's an Arco Brown from the Omas material. Omas are sadly no longer. But I do love this pen, so for me this really is a good addition, and it makes my top 10 pens. I love how it writes as well. And we have Visconti Manhattan Arco, and this for me again an Arco Brown material. I love the material. I love that it's a Visconti. I have a lot of Viscontis. I've sold a few in 2019, but I'm up to or down to 57 now. But this is a beautiful pen. It's a power vac filler. It has the newer 18 karat gold nib on there from Visconti. I'm at the moment, certainly on this pen, I'm not overly a fan. The medium writes a little bit more like a fine. It writes a little bit more like a nail. but maybe it's just a one-off nib. I haven't had any more. I've not been able to play with any more to see if the other nibs are any different. But I like the pen, and that pen, because it's an Arco, because it's a Visconti, has made it into my top 10 pens for this year. And then there was this Molteni Modelo 55S, and it's the Royal Blue Lucents, and I do love this. It's a beautiful see-through transparent material. It comes with a 18 karat gold nib, and this nib has a slight architect grind going on to it. It's got an ebonite feed, but this pen writes exquisitely well, and it's a pen that I love, absolutely love writing with. So it's very wet, and the medium is more of a medium to a broad nib. It's a Bock nib, but it writes very well. And then we have two Scribos, and I couldn't have a top 10 without Scribos. And the Scribos, I love the fill pattern a little bit more than maybe the Scribo 3. These are beautiful patterns. They're resin pens. They're faceted. They're hourglass shape. They look very cumbersome to hold, but they're not. They're very comfortable to hold in your hand. They're very lightweight. They have the Omas OM81 nib there, the 14 karat gold extra flessibile nib, and it is just a dream to write with. So if you want a nib with a bounce to it, slight flex, this is the closest you'll get to a vintage flex. And here is again the Scribo fill, and this is the Verdi Bosco. It's more of a darker green, but you can just see there that chatoyance in that resin going on. Both of these are piston pens. They hold around about a milliliter of ink, and again it's got the 14 karat gold extra flessibile nib, and it's got an ebonite feed, but these pens are very, very light, and they hold a decent amount of ink as well, and those nibs write very wet and very bouncy. So for me, they had to make it into the top 10 list, and I was toying on whether or not to put the blue Scribo 3 in there that I have in my collection, because again that's a really good nib, but I ran out of slots here, and I really wanted to put this one in. This is a pen that I picked up at the London Pen Show from John Foy at St John's Pens. It's the Leonardo Officina Italiana Momenta Zero Grande Sand, and this not only is a beautiful material here, but you'll see it has a number 6 size steel nib. It's a medium nib, but it writes very, very well. So for me, this really is a beautiful pen. It has an integrated piston, it's basically an oversized cartridge converter there, but it's glued in place. You cannot remove it. But for me, this holds a lot of ink and really is beautiful. So I absolutely love writing with this. Now, it's a steel nib, so it's a firmish nib, like most steel nibs, but for me, it's a wet nib, and I love how it writes. And then, I couldn't really have a top 10 pens without one of the Armando Simoni Club Bologna Extras, and this is the Black Gold Lucents. Now, again, I'd like to have put the Africa in there as well, but obviously I just ran out of space. So it came to which do I like the most. This is the pen that I like the most out of the two materials, and this black and gold Lucents is absolutely stunning. So for me, this had to make it into the top 10. I kind of would like to have had the Africa in there as well, but then I would have had to have removed one of these pens. So it was a little bit of a sort of a decision on which pen had to go in there, and ultimately I knew the black and gold Lucians had to be in that top 10. And then we have this pen, and this is the Sailor King of Pens Sakura Nagar, and this is a maki-e Varden pen. These pens are made to order from Sailor. I'd ordered this in January 2019. Finally arrived actually in, or for me anyway, October 2019. It was about 9 months back to back, but I was so glad that I was able to pick this pen up. I'd actually cancelled my order if you'd seen the review, but I luckily was able to see it there, and I got in early at the pen show and I saw it on John Hall's table right here, and I decided I had to buy this. I couldn't let this pen go a second time. It's a Sailor King of Pen, so it comes with a Sailor King of Pen nib. It's a broad nib, so an Asian broad is more of a Western medium, but I do like how this writes, and I do love the pen. Some people say that I like bling pens. Maybe so. Like, there are some pens that do look a little bit sort of over the top. Some people may say that this pen looks over the top. Personally, I don't think it does. I just think it looks beautiful and stunning. So that pen had to make it. There was no doubt in my mind that would be in my top 10 pen list. And then the final pen in this top 10 pen list, and the final pen that I purchased in 2019, and I have to blame my penabler, and that was a friend called Tony in Kansas City. And yes, Tony, you know who you are. I'd been looking at this pen, and this pen was available at a number of locations, and I had the chance to pick this pen up at the London Pen Show. I didn't. I am very glad that I didn't, because I managed to find this pen for a lot less money from a private collector, brand new, uninked, and this pen is absolutely gorgeous. So this is the Pelikan M1000, and this is the Starlight. It's a maki-e Varden pen, and this pen is absolutely beautiful. So it comes with a Pelikan number 8 size nib. All of these come with a medium nib. These are fairly lightweight pens compared to some of the pens that I have in my collection, and this is a beautiful pen. So I am very, very glad that Tony, for all of his sins, managed to enable me into getting this pen. He managed to find the private seller, and I contacted the private seller and I purchased this pen, and I purchased it for a very good price. So as much as I hate Tony for enabling me, it's normally the other way round. I'm glad that he was able to enable me, and I was able to pick up this pen, because again, this pen was a pen that, like the Visconti Last Templar Jacques de Molay pen, this Pelikan Starlight was a pen that I've been looking at, maybe lusting after, for a couple of years, and I am so glad I was able to add that to my collection. So there you have it. That's my top 10 pens out of the pens that I purchased in 2019. I will be looking to do another video, probably a top 10 pens of my top 10 pens of all time. That is going to be a very difficult video for me to do, because if it was difficult to take 30 pens down to 10, it's going to be difficult to take 170 pens down to 10. But I'm going to see if I can do it. You'll find out soon enough if I have managed to do it. So thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.